What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Blerdimension, and today we're going to talk about the WWDC reveals, and we'll also talk about Windows 11 reveal. We have a trimmed down presence today. Kev and Tech are taking care of some house stuff. So I think Tech might join us a little later, but I think Kev, I think he won't be able to join tonight. So yeah, we got the rest of the squad. Let's start around AJ, not Slinja. What's good?
What's going on, everybody?
We got JK Beasternal,
Hello.
and we have Carl KBH.
What's going on, guys?
Cool. So yeah, like I said, today is all about the WWDC news and also the Windows 11 reveal. We're gonna talk about some of the differences and some of the things we like, some of the things we hope to have seen. But before we get into that, what is everyone's daily driver? Like, do you use Windows? Do you use Mac as a daily OS? Let's start with you, JK. What's your preferred OS of choice?
Nothing. I prefer sleep.
Oh yeah, we all know that.
Get your life together.
Windows. I prefer Windows over Mac, but Mac is good for some stuff, but not everything.
Shots fired.
Oh, that's perfect.
AJ, what about you, AJ? What's your daily driver?
Definitely Windows. For me, it's pretty much been a constant staple in my life. I've never. I mean, I used Macs one time, like consistently, and I was in elementary school.
Them colorful iMac.
So long ago. I don't even remember the color of the computer. I just remember the mouse, the way the mouse looked, and I remember the interface being kind of like. I remember being able to tell the difference between the Windows interface and the Mac interface. But like, other than that, like that was the last time I used one consistently, and that was about a tech ago. Like, however old tech is, about that long ago, was the last time I used one consistently. Now I've used Macs before and since then, but the Windows architecture is just fine for me. It hasn't, it does what it's supposed to do. I don't understand. I don't get the Mac love, but that's just because I'm not, I'm not a hype beast or whatever they call those people who just gotta have the new hotness in it, and I don't buy into it.
Okay, Carl, what about you? What's your daily driver?
Daily is a Mac. Unfortunately, even at work, it's a Mac. I just felt highly disrespected by that last comment AJ made. I mean,
hey man, hit dog go holler. That's what I heard.
Hey, truth hurts.
Wow.
Hey man.
I felt like we could have kept it professional, but here we are.
It's just very popular to say you like Mac, and that I mean is my issue with Macs. I mean, I'm sure they're great machines, but it's just a lot of people who say, "Oh, I got iPhone, I got a Mac," don't even know what makes them good. Like, Carl, I respect the fact that on when you're developing on a Mac exactly why you prefer it over Windows, but most people aren't sophisticated enough to know the difference between the two. They just
it's like that religious like devotion to Macs and Apple in general. Like, that's what always kind of turns me off. But then they are actually. I mean, I can't speak for the iPhone, but the rest of the hardware, like I can fuck with. But
yeah. I want an iPad. I want an iPad for art stuff, but I can't justify spending $1,500 on it, which is why I don't have one.
Yeah,
but
it is an investment.
Laptop, and they just don't want to give it the software. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Look,
because they want you to buy it. They want you to also get a MacBook.
Yeah, they can't. They don't want to cannibalize, and that makes sense from a business standpoint, but it doesn't make sense from a technology standpoint.
That's why a MacBook doesn't have touch. That's why iPad doesn't have the necessary software
Look,
for it to
either
be a replacement.
iPad needs to get the necessary software, or a MacBook needs to get cellular data. I need one or the other.
But your iPad can serve as a can it serve as a hotspot?
Yeah, it can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's
No.
So spend $4,000 together. You have a device that can travel everywhere.
I don't want no hotspot life, man. I need native cellular data on everything.
I don't see
2021.
I don't see why the cellular data on a Mac is hard. That's not breaking the rule of making a Mac too similar to an iPad. You should be able to do that.
Laptops you used to be able to do that on laptops back in the day.
But it wasn't
Never on a
stock.
Mac, but I think some Windows laptops back like in the early 2000s, you could have gotten cellular data.
I mean, it might have sold well. That's the only thing I can imagine. What's
cool. Okay. So so me personally, I use both. My MacBook is starting to get up there in age. So it's mostly been Windows lately. I'd say 70-30 now. And then of course, like I play games on Windows, because you can't play games on Mac. So
I mean,
Big flaw.
and then
Xbox.
even in development work, I've been even that is mostly Windows these days. So yeah, I do enjoy the Mac. I don't have any problems with it. It's just they are expensive. I've had my MacBook Pro, I think it's a 2014 edition, so I've been dreading like having to sunset it, but it's I can't put it into it's certain little things. Like it still works, still gets the job done, especially development wise, but it's just like little
See,
quality of life
I
issues.
challenge that a little bit though. See, if you do like for like spec wise, I don't think it's actually expensive. The whole problem is there isn't a low cost option that doesn't have all the features.
Mm-hmm.
But if you get an equivalent Windows machine, I think you're gonna have a hard time getting something that's like way cheaper or even cheaper. Like you get a look at a MacBook Air or a M1 MacBook Pro. I don't think you're gonna find anything cheaper than that on the
Yeah,
Windows side.
and then so Windows is okay. So when it comes to like comparing them, the one of the things that I've noticed, and one of my big criticisms with MacBook Pros over time, is that you couldn't upgrade them at all anymore. And that's also the case on the Windows side too, because like if you look at the new Razer 15, right, everything is basically like soldered in, and that competes with a MacBook Pro in terms of like spec and build, even though I think the Razer is more designed for more graphically intensive stuff, like gaming mainly. But yeah, I mean, you can't upgrade the RAM on that giant. You can't upgrade the SSD or anything. All that shit's soldered on. So but if you go with another type of build, which is a little more bulkier, you can get something cheaper, but also like upgrade the RAM and the hard drive and stuff too. You just sacrifice the quality of life build updates that a lot of these new slim joints have. So that's one thing I've been noticing, is that even the Windows stuff is starting to get like soldered on, and you can't upgrade and shit. So, but it just depends on the company.
Gotta pick that poison.
Yep. So, starting with WWDC, so that happened. Was that about a couple weeks ago? We had time to kind of ruminate and see what are some of the the big features. What are some things that stood out for you all that got you a little hype?
The only thing was universal control, man. That thing, that's juicy. Yes, you got to spend the equivalent of a Kia Rio to get all those devices. But hey, one keyboard, one trackpad, you control an iMac, a MacBook Pro, and an iPad. That's that was cool. That's something I will never use because I'm not spending 6 to 10 stacks on all those machines. But it was cool to see it in action.
Yeah, you got to piecemeal them joints over the years. Like 1 year you splurge on the iPad, 1 year you splurge on the MacBook, 1 year you splurge on a watch.
You don't have enough. You don't have enough time because by the time you get all the devices, they're all obsolete. You like the new MacBook, the new iPad.
But not so much for the computers though. The computers you could ride out for a long time on them. They support them from a software perspective for a super long time, and they still run buttery for a solid 4 years. And you could use it to probably 7 years, and they'll be serviceable. Especially if you get them like high end when they're just out. So if you're gonna piecemeal it, make the iPad the last purchase. Get the other stuff and then get that iPad.
Definitely. So some of the things they announced, iOS 15. One of the things that stood out for me is the FaceTime stuff, the FaceTime link, so you can be on different devices and be able to join a FaceTime call. I thought that was pretty cool.
Just go ahead and give a native app on Android. Like, stop trying to be a hater. You know you want to, man. Apple Music's on there. Do it.
True. I mean, yeah, do it like what they did with iTunes all the way back in the day, right? For the longest, like we never thought that iTunes would come over to Windows, but they finally realized that now everybody got fucking Macs, yeah. And everybody wants an iPod, but not everybody has a Mac. So it looks like they have some updates for Apple Maps. Oh, that's right, you all aren't
hear about that shit.
iPhone users. Our 2 iPhone users aren't here. Maybe that's why we did this, so we can talk shit about.
I'm not gonna lie, the Apple Maps updates look very juicy.
That's the joint with the 3D stuff, right?
The 3D details, like they're leveraging, like so if you have M1 machine, it's leveraging the GPU that's built into their system on a chip to do like high resolution textures on their, like, so they'll do stuff like Machu Picchu or something like that, and it'll be super high res detailed on their map 3D. And it looks like they're focusing on like San Fran and a few major cities in the US to start.
Of course, San Fran always gets the news.
I mean, Cupertino.
Take care of yourself. That's what they're doing. They're just taking care of themselves.
I know, right?
The thing I'm concerned with, though, like, is that ever gonna come to any other country other than the US? Because I don't think they're investing like Google and driving all over the world and doing that. So that's cool for us in the States, but folks outside, I don't know if they're gonna get that kind of love.
Yeah,
but it did look beautiful for sure.
For sure. The other thing that I was looking at, this little graphic, SharePlay, that looks pretty cool. Where you can basically watch like Netflix or any of the other like big streaming apps together on FaceTime. And I think there's a number of them, and they're also releasing an SDK for that as well. So you can so future streaming services will be able to create an app or integration into SharePlay. So I thought that was pretty cool. That would have definitely came in handy like last year.
Yeah.
The pandemic.
They're a little late on that one.
Yeah. But I think it's cool nonetheless.
That remind me of the early days of the NXE on the 360.
Yes.
They had that for Netflix.
Yes, that shit was so
and I did that a
tight.
couple times.
That shit was
Listen,
so
What are we
tight.
talking about?
Party. It was like a party share.
the
Yeah.
new Xbox experience on the 360. That was like the golden age of Xbox right there. That's when forgot his name, something more. He was running Xbox at the time before he went to EA, and they did like a whole new software update. They changed from the blades to like that long scroll thing, and they had a whole bunch of new streaming apps come. So they were the first to get Netflix and these other streaming apps.
Yeah, this joint
And
right
then-
here. Remember this? Everybody's avatar was in like a
Yeah.
movie theater, and this shit was tight.
Oh yeah. Okay, I remember that. I never used it.
I used it a couple times.
That shit was tight. It was
I was
definitely
watching
ahead of its
Last
time.
Airbender, Avatar Last Airbender.
Oh wow, you wasted that.
Oh damn!
No, not the movie, the anime. Not the movie. Come on now.
You watched the movie.
No,
You probably shut down the service watching the movie.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Absolutely. Eyes bleed. Yeah, I was watching. It was right before. What's the name? Katara started bloodbending.
Oh yeah, good stuff. Oh, good episodes. Yeah,
Yeah, we were doing that. That was fresh.
that's that's cool. I didn't even I never got to leverage that. Well, most of the people who I watched stuff with were in my house at that time, so
True.
I guess it wouldn't make sense to leverage. Like there was no reason for it.
Yeah,
Damn, look at the old interface.
but
of
that's
Netflix.
this NXE ushered me into Netflix, and I was hooked ever since.
Yeah, I remember 1 versus 100.
Oh yeah, played that too.
Mm-mm.
I just knew I was gonna win something. Never won a darn
This
thing.
shit was so good. It was so fun. I
It
usually
was.
don't like game show shit, but this was fun.
This would be so much better now.
It would.
No, I
They
never played that.
were thinking they were like rumblings of saying that they might bring it back, but I don't know. Okay. All right. All right. So going back to WWDC, so they also introduced iPad OS 15. Anything that stood out for this? Let's see. Widgets.
I don't really remember. Like, it's like cool. Can I run Photoshop? Can I get VS Code? Can I get Xcode on it? Oh, I can't. Okay, I don't really care.
Yeah.
Like the one thing I did like is that they did have Swift Playground.
Oh yeah,
And you
yeah.
can make iOS and iPad OS apps on there now using Swift UI. So not full blown Swift, but Swift UI, which pretty much the future from what I'm hearing. Like a friend of mine is an iOS developer. He's like, yeah, I'm legit getting nervous because anybody can make a high quality app now with Swift UI.
mm,
Oh shit.
Yeah, so that's cool. I have a feeling I'm gonna. That's what I'm gonna use for my daughters. Ease them into programming.
Yeah, we actually at Tag we used Swift Playgrounds, and it was kids really actually enjoyed it. So it's a very it's a high quality product.
Yeah. And so I installed the app on the iPad already. So I think they have like the section where they talk about their third party integrations. So there's like, I forgot what it's called. I think it's Tello, where you could get like a quadcopter and program it either visually or legit code, and you could control a quadcopter or other robots or Lego Mindstorm, all these third parties that can use Swift Playground.
Mm-hmm.
So uh, I'm thinking I'm gonna try to do that quadcopter one, just so to be like, oh yeah, you're not just programming and maybe do a hello world, but they could see a physical thing happen in the world by the code. So
Yeah, definitely. That always helps add that physical aspect to it.
yeah.
Next one, macOS Monterey. This was kind of bad news for me because I think my MacBook is on the cusp of not being supported for it. So so that's what really stood out for me. I was like, oh shit. I think
Yeah, they don't want you to have no fun.
nah, not at all. But I
I'm like,
I have to check. I think it's I think mine is a 2015. I gotta double check, but if it's a 2014, I'm SOL.
But think about it though. Like I bought my wife, a, well, we weren't married at the time, but a low end Windows machine. But because it was so low end, I couldn't even put uh, Windows 7 on it. It was stuck on Vista forever. So
Shit.
she unsupported, insecure software for the better part of a decade. She just stopped using it because it just became unusable. Like Chrome is not supported anymore.
Damn.
Nothing is supported on that machine, and it it was low end when we got it, so it's you know it's sluggish. But if you got the lowest end Mac, you're gonna get at least 2 to 3 OS versions out of it, guaranteed. Like we literally just got one, and it was Vista. So
Yeah.
that's
So kind of going through some of this stuff. So we talked about the universal control, being able to, control all of the devices using one set of mouse and keyboard. Um what else? SharePlay again. Sort of some of the same stuff. Let me look through the text.
they did something kind of disrespectful when they got to the audio section. So some of the audio stuff was cool, but then they try to pretend like you could use a couple AirPod minis to double as a sound bar or something like that for your TV. I'm just like, stop it, stop it. That's not gonna replace no sound bar. Ridiculous. But I mean, if you're heavy into the ecosystem,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yep. You get to use it once and never use it again. Then we got WatchOS. So they put a big emphasis on health for a while.
That's the area for the watch. That's what
Yeah.
they're headed for. I've been hearing rumors of like them trying to work out some way of doing like glucose,
Yep.
some blood glucose monitor somehow, being able to like shooting a laser, I guess, through your skin into your blood, and somehow being able to tell what your glucose level is, and
Like, nigga, put
stuff
down that
like that.
cookie.
Yeah, exactly. But like they want that's the area for a wearable in general, because if you think about a watch, they don't. Once again, we talked about this at the beginning of the recording, but they don't want to cannibalize their products, right? So you don't want a watch that's a phone, even though it is. You don't want it. You don't want people to be comfortable just having the watch, right? You
Mhm.
want them to have an iPhone. So you got to give each device its own lane. And what are you going to give an Apple Watch, right? It's too expensive to be a timepiece because it's too expensive and it doesn't appreciate in value, right? So it's right above like, okay, this is a nice watch, to this. Most watches at that price and higher, they appreciate, right? They don't get cheaper; they get more expensive as time goes on, right?
Mhm.
An Apple Watch isn't going to do that. It's gonna depreciate the moment you open it. It's like a car; it depreciates from then on. So you can't use it as like, hey, this is a timepiece. It's a luxury item that you can hold on to for the rest of your life. So you pushed yourself out of that area just by being technology. And then the next step would be, hey, this can be your all-in-one, cellular device. But technically, it can. You get some Bluetooth headphones or whatever. You can go for a run without your phone with the Apple Watch.
Mm-hmm.
But does Apple want that? And does really any person want that? The only people who probably would be comfortable with that are people who don't like talking on the phone, don't like texting. You don't like that stuff, then Apple Watch is a great, hey, this is how I, in emergencies can contact people.
Yeah.
But wearables really don't, they've been trying to find their place for, a decade now. Like, where are we in the technology area? People thought at one point wearables were going to overtake the phone, which is still a possibility. But right now, they've kind of fallen back. And I think the only wearable we're talking about is the Apple Watch.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to give themselves a lane, they got to do something. And health is probably the best thing because it's you're wearing it all day, and it's literally right there next to your pulse. Why wouldn't it take your heart, your
Mhm.
your heart rate? Why wouldn't it do all that other stuff? You've got devices that do that. Why wouldn't you just make an all-in-one device? And people are really into data about themselves these days, right?
Yeah.
And not only that, I mean, I don't know if they collect that data themselves, but if they could, then they know more about their customers.
True.
So
True.
it's a win-win. But yeah, I think that the Apple Watch has to go in that direction. And so we just bought my dad an Apple Watch for Father's Day. So
Mm.
um,
That's a
I
good
didn't know your
I
present.
mean,
dad was an iPhone user.
my whole family has. My mom just got rid of her Pixel and joined the
Damn.
Apple
Yeah.
Watch brigade. It was me and her left.
Dude, did you tell her? Did you show her the leaks of the Pixel 6?
She does
You could have
not
kept
care.
her.
She had a terrible experience with the Pixel 3, and so she was like,
Mm.
I'm out. I'm getting an iPhone. They work better. I'm like, that's not true, but what can I say? The rest of the family is on iPhones, so I can't
Yeah, I
I
heard.
can't refute any of this stuff. So
Damn.
yeah, they're all appled up over there. In
Look,
my I'm the only
if
one
that
left.
Apple supported Android, you already know I'd have scooped one.
Oh, I'd have one too if it supported Android. I would, because I just don't. I'm not in the ecosystem, so the device is great, and that's kind of what happens with Apple, in my opinion. Me and Apple, anyway. Our relationship is, I don't ever look at their stuff and say that stuff sucks. Right? I look at it and say, I can't. This is a slippery slope. You buy one, and it's hard to use it without using the rest of the stuff. So if you're gonna invest in an iPhone, which is a
Look,
lot of money to
you could
begin
get
with,
a Mac. You could just get it by itself, AJ.
that's the only one. The only one that you can get and not cross over. So if you get a Mac, I'm like, I told Carl when he got his iPad, I was like, that's it. They got you. Because now you got two devices that work together. You're gonna start to get that the relief
That
of having
itch.
having
I'm
yeah,
not
like,
gonna lie.
well, it
When
gives you. Go ahead,
when I
Carl.
lost when I opened my laptop and I was like, dang, dude, I was in someplace random. Like, dang, I got no internet. And then I saw it just automatically pop up with my iPad, and then went ahead and connected automatically, and I'm online. I was like, oh wow. Just so, so just so simple like that. It's just
No,
like,
that
oh wow.
synergy you're gonna see it, and you're gonna see that the rest of your life doesn't work that way, and then you're gonna just, as a human being, try to get your life to work that way, because you're gonna see, like, man,
I just got
other devices
internet.
that I owned cooperated in this way, then guess what? My life might be a little bit more easy. So I get the love for it, right? I think it's just too expensive. I think these are rich people problems. Like, oh, my tablet and my computer don't connect automatically. I can't get them to yada yada yada. I mean, you can technically hotspot your phones or whatever on Android and get them to get your computer to connect, but But does it seek out that
Hey,
connection? Oh.
that's 2015 stuff, AJ. We can't
No, I understand. But point being that they basically get you into the like if you get two devices, for me, you've already gone down, like you're sliding down the slope. You get one device, you're looking over the edge. You get two
But nobody says
devices.
that about Microsoft. Like I got an Xbox. I used to have a Windows machine. Nobody's
But
like, oh yeah,
they
you're
don't make it. First of all, what's a Windows machine besides a Surface? It's no real Windows machine. They're machines that use Windows, right?
But yeah, but I mean, I never had a Windows phone. I should have had a Windows phone. I wanted to try it. I wanted to try it.
I wanted to try it too. I had a
Yeah.
Zune.
You had a Zune?
I had a Zune.
You were deep in the ecosystem, AJ.
I rocked the Zune for a good bit. I learned better, and phones got better. So it was like MP3s were going out anyway, because you could use your phones. So why would I need this huge blocky? The Zoom was huge. It was like half an inch thick, and half an inch thick.
Oh, you got the chunky one. You didn't get the nice.
No.
You've
No,
got
I was off of Zoom. Somebody actually gave me an iPod Touch after that, so I didn't have to suffer through the second phase of the Zoom before it became obsolete. But so the point that I was making is they make great stuff. Apple makes great stuff. I'm not ever gonna begrudge them that. What I don't like about Apple is that like it's the fandom is a little bit too. They're too. The thing that annoys me about them is that they don't actually do any research on any other device.
Yeah,
right?
It's like they're in their bubble. Like they think that every new feature is so revolutionary, but when
is a new feature, right? But it might just be a feature that Apple's like, okay, we'll finally add that to our ecosystem. But it's not new. It's not the first device to ever do it. There are other devices that have been doing it for years, and now Apple's decided, okay, we can jump into this arena. That we've seen it. We've seen how other people have used it. They've pretty much worked through the bugs. So all we got to do now is implement it in our stuff, right? Like iPhones weren't even the best phones weren't even cellular data. Like their radios sucked, right? When they first came out, they were just basically iPods that could sometimes connect to a tower, right? But now they're good phones. But that took a long time, and that was after they watched other people stumble and fall. So they make good stuff, but the ecosystem is too expensive, and it's whatever. But the watch is great, and my dad loves it. So, and he's already in the ecosystem, so it's okay for him to get it.
That's all that matters.
I'm gonna use insurance to get
an Apple Watch.
If they support glucose, I think I could probably convince insurance to pay at least for part of it.
Oh, like it's a glucose monitor. Like, oh, this is a glucose monitor.
This is quality of life improvement right
here. It'll save you money in the long run.
Absolutely.
So the last couple things, there's nothing really too crazy. tvOS. I guess you can integrate HomeKit stuff into it.
That'll never interest me in the Apple TV. Never.
But
I don't even get the purpose of it. They just want to capture content too. Like that's what they're doing. Like,
yeah,
I get it, but that's not even remotely related to what makes them what they're known for, right? Like it's just a thing that they added on. Like content has nothing to do with the design and the look of technology. It is just content, right? Mm-hmm. It's like there's nothing Apple-y about Apple TV.
AJ,
really?
When you're 2.2 trillion, where are you gonna get your next trilly from?
I don't know, but
branch out, baby.
The point is I think the reason nobody really even thinks about the Apple TV is because it's not Apple-y. How do you make content Apple-y? You know what I'm saying? Like everything else can look at it and say that's an Apple device. Like if they make a car, I'm a know without. I bet you if they make a car, they don't even have to tell me. If I see a car that I've never seen before drive down the road and it happens to be an Apple car, I'm gonna be able to just look at it and be like, that looks like a Mac on wheels. Like I'm gonna be able to tell that it's an Apple car, but you can't tell something is Apple content. Like I think
So you have a beef with the Apple, like their streaming service, basically.
yeah, I just don't. I don't.
You don't
I
get
think
it.
that it's an obvious attempt to just capture income in that area, but like they don't have anything to add to the conversation of content. They're not giving you a new way of consuming content. They're not doing anything different. They're just like, oh shoot, Amazon and Google have content. And I expect that from Amazon. Amazon looks like they'll do anything for a piece of change. They'll do something strange for a piece of change. Like they'll do whatever it is. They're like,
Yeah, they'll do it all.
they'll do it. They're like if hot dogs became something that made billions of dollars, there would be an Amazon hot dog cart. I guarantee you. Like they'll do everything to make money. So when you see Amazon come up with a new product, it doesn't really surprise you because their brand is world domination.
Gobble,
That's the
gobble,
brand.
gobble.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then you see Microsoft, you kind of know what they do. They do just a bunch of different technology things, right?
Mhm.
But Apple they did this on purpose. They're like, no, we're going to give you these specific, high quality, very fashionable devices. And they stuck with that. They don't really make software unless it's to support their devices. They don't really, you know what I'm saying? And then they come up with content. Like it just doesn't fit. It absolutely doesn't fit in with the rest of the stuff that they do. I mean, Johnny Ive can't design content. He can't sit down and put a piece of
He's
paper.
retired. He's a consultant now.
Right, but I'm just saying he wouldn't have been able to do it when he worked there. He can't sit down and design content. You gotta just let content go. I think that. I mean, I get why they're doing it. They have the people in the ecosystem already. Why not capture a little bit more of their attention with some content? But it's not even a sexy destination. Nobody's like, oh, we're gonna be on Apple. We're gonna be on an Apple TV app.
Yeah. Well, I bet they would say that just because like they just get that big check, because I'm sure.
Yeah, but that's marketing though. I'm saying like nobody's like. I can't nobody's like writing a screenplay right now thinking, "Ooh, Apple TV might see this." They're thinking
you want
Netflix.
Yeah,
you're thinking Netflix. You're not thinking Apple TV. You're even thinking Amazon Prime before you think. You're like, man, Netflix didn't get it, but maybe Amazon Prime. Let me see them. Like Netflix might be like third on the list. You might go to Peacock or Paramount Plus. You might go all over the place before you like, oh shoot, I forgot Apple has a streaming service.
Yeah, true.
Definitely. Like they don't have a name for this, but like gaming would probably be easier because if the games are good,
Well, they
gamers
have
will use it.
they have the Apple Arcade. If they just port that over, and that's kind of
I
like
think
the
they're doing
rumors.
that.
Yeah,
I think
that's
they're gonna do that.
that's what they're rumoring is that they're just gonna put Apple Arcade on the TVs, and that's gonna kind of solve their gaming niche.
Like if they partnered with like a Activision seemed like their speed. If they partner with an Activision, being like, okay, we want you to be our premier partner for some streaming titles or something like that, and do game streaming, Apple TV, and you can get day one Call of Duty stuff or whatever like that, World of Warcraft on it.
Well, the thing with
want to do.
Apple Arcade is that I don't think none of it is streaming. I think most of it is native. If I'm not mistaken.
Right, but you can't get no AAAs doing that. Not on Apple TV.
Yeah, I don't think that they want to. I think that they want to just port over.
Casual.
Yeah, I think they want to just port over what they already have on iPhone and iPad, and just make everything, just be able to just fire it up on your TV and play a bunch of those type of games. But yeah, I don't think that they're gonna go for the AAA stuff, and I don't.
What are they trying to do? Oh, come on now.
Think...
Then we're back where we started. That, like, to me, that's the play that could really bring some attention. Maybe not huge use, but certainly a lot of buzz. Like if they had game streaming and it was buttery, because Stadia didn't figure that out, and I don't think xCloud is all the way there yet. If they were the first to have like a buttery smooth game streaming experience,
Mm-hmm.
at the very least you get tremendous buzz out of that, and eventually that would translate into users.
I
But
think what will probably happen is that they're gonna continue to go down that route, which is the basically just porting over stuff that works on other devices on Apple TV. But I think when Microsoft really puts the fire under everybody to get on the streaming bandwagon, especially when they start just integrating in the TVs, I think that's when like Apple will really kind of see basically like, hey, we invented streaming on Apple TV.
Yeah,
We were the first
and
ones.
just like that.
they just need to see a proof of concept. They're the kind of person who's
Absolutely.
like they're not necessarily like super imaginative. Like they might have. I mean, I wouldn't say that about Jobs and I, but or was right. I wouldn't say that about the people who started it, or at least got it to where it is now. But I would say that about the current Apple regime, and for the past decade, they're not really like, hey, this is a good idea. Let's try this. Like
No, they're very
they to
risk
me,
averse.
they're like Floyd Mayweather,
Mhm.
right? Like they pick their fights like when they know, like, yeah, I'm gonna be able to. I could beat this guy at this time in his career, right? Like even though he's older than Pacquiao, he picked Pacquiao at the right time. He didn't pick young, quick, might try something crazy Pacquiao. He picked old, could pick up an injury at any moment Pacquiao. And even though he outboxed him and outclassed him and made him look like a regular person, it was the right time to fight Pacquiao. It's always the right time for Floyd Mayweather. It's always the right time and the right money. And I feel like that's Apple. Like they're Floyd Mayweather. They're gonna pick their fights. Like you can't deny the skill or whatever or the ability, but they're gonna pick it. Like they're not gonna jump out in front and say, you know what? I'm a trailblaze. Like
Yeah,
the trailblazer doesn't ever get any of the benefits of blazing the trail,
that
and they're
is
smart
true.
enough to know that.
That is true. That is
You
definitely
get
true.
That's
you get
so
out there. Go ahead.
I'm just saying that's upsettingly true.
It
Yeah.
is like you Dreamcast. Get yourself a modem. Put yourself a modem in a device. And guess what? We
Yep.
appreciate you, Dreamcast. Now every
That's-
device, every console has a modem in it now. Every console has like or connects to the internet now,
Yep.
in some capacity. But Dreamcast didn't really get what games were people playing online. It wasn't ready. But somebody has to
You gotta try.
do it
You gotta put it out
in order
there.
for the concept to exist in people's minds. Be like, oh shoot, that was almost right. Like
Yeah, I
and
mean, even
Apple's
think about the iPhone, right? I mean, there was plenty of like smartphones before that.
right,
They just made it more, accessible to normal people. Like usually the smartphones were for business class people. But
right.
they refined it
Had
and
that pocket PC.
yeah, they refined it and
They made it sexy.
made it sexy. And so that's what got everybody. It's like they didn't
Sexy.
invent that shit, but they just
Sexy.
refined it.
Say what?
It's kind of easy to use.
Yeah, they simplified it. Right, simplification and sexy is what they did.
Yeah.
And
multi-touch was a big transformational thing too.
yeah, they do some stuff. You got to give them their credit. Like I said, it's Floyd Mayweather. He has no losses, and that's what Apple strives to be exactly. They don't want to get they never want to lose their O. They need to be undefeated. In so they're gonna wait till something is proven that it's actually useful to people and that it works, And then they're gonna be like, yeah, we've had people working on this since y'all came out with it, but we weren't gonna release it until y'all had already fell on your face a couple of times.
They threw out a crazy number of like how much they put into the R&D.
I think it's 21 billion.
Yeah, so it's like that they're working on like
There's probably sitting on so many patents.
Oh, absolutely. Like they got so much shit in the vault. Um and like once that shit is like basically perfected, that's when they reveal it, and that's when they feel comfortable. Like they literally take no risk now.
Yeah, and that was my point. It's like they know when they release something that at least it's not going to lose. And with the exception of the TV, I feel like the TV is losing. Apple TV is losing. I feel like the only people who have Apple TVs are and I know Kev is one of those people. I wish you are in the ecosystem. Yep. It's over. They're in the ecosystem. No, of course, you have an Apple TV. You're in the ecosystem. But
yeah,
I just don't understand an Apple TV that purchase. I don't get it.
Right? Yeah, I mean, there's so many like for a while, like they were kind of alone. In that space, but then you got the Chromecast came out, and then you got the
Chromecast with Google. You get 4K.
Mm-hmm.
You get like a great interface. You have the voice control with the remote that Bluetooth connects to the thing. Like the thing is beautiful. Like like Apple TV can't compete with that.
No,
nah, not at all.
And even if they do everything that Google's doing, the content is still like, who's king in content, right? YouTube, these other apps, like YouTube's probably always going to work best on the Chromecast in terms of like these. It's always going to work best there because then even if you integrate, it's integrated in all of them. You can watch YouTube on the Amazon Fire Stick. They took it away for a little while, but they definitely brought it back. Like they were gonna, I remember my Fire Stick when I couldn't play YouTube anymore. I was like, "What the heck's going on?" And I found out, they decided to get rid of it. And I was like, that's a very foolish move on your part. And what happened? A few years later, they got YouTube back because it's content is king. So you got YouTube, then you got
make Amazon pay for it a little bit. Man. Just get it for free like that.
Yep, absolutely. And then you got YouTube TV. You got the YouTube originals. You got all of that stuff for just one app that Google owns. I mean, Google abandons ideas like, I don't know, like they consider every idea pretty much useless except for search. That's the only thing that they haven't abandoned or even jeopardized. Yeah, so like they got
them $1 trillion. So
I mean, absolutely, but Google's the exact opposite of Apple in terms of they're like that really exciting boxer who loses half the fights that he wins, but he wins all the others in knockouts. So it's like they're the exact opposite of Apple. They make a lot of mistakes, but the Chromecast, in terms of if you're talking about one of those deals where you're hooking something to your TV and that's your content device, right? Your streaming device. I think the Chromecast wins almost exclusively. It's got all of Google power behind it. The search capabilities, like I said, YouTube. The other stuff works on it because it's basically Android stuff. So everything else works on it. It's an Android app. It works on it. And then you got the Fire Stick next because it's got Amazon's catalog and all the things. If you're buying digital movies on Amazon or anything like that, all of that stuff comes. And then the Apple TV shows up. And that's really if you're a Mac person with all the other Mac stuff, and then you just bought an Apple TV. I can't even imagine, even if I was Mac'd out, I can't imagine having Apple TVs instead of Chromecasts.
Yeah, exactly.
Doesn't make sense.
So yeah, I guess like final thoughts on the WWDC. Underwhelming a bit.
Very underwhelming because we were expecting hardware and zero hardware. Like I was looking for the new MacBook Pros, M1X or some kind of Apple Silicon MacBook Pro. Didn't happen. So it was a letdown for me for that reason. But yeah,
Yeah, same thing. Like I did nothing really like stood out. You know, there was a bunch of cool stuff, but like in terms of the, I think the FaceTime shit was pretty cool. The universal control is cool. You know, the watch, the health applications on there are pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, nothing like, you know, jumping to go, you know, buy any of all this stuff. So, but yeah, I definitely want to check. I definitely am waiting to see the second generation of these M1 devices.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, all in all, you know, cool stuff, but nothing earth shattering. So that takes us to Windows 11, which was debuted or revealed today. So starting off like the release date, I think it's in holiday season this year, 2021.
It's October.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess like what are anything that stood out? Can just kind of go down the list of some stuff.
it's multitasking was pretty much the highlight, like for me.
Yeah.
So basically the different
Different
about,
ways you could snap,
yeah.
rendering your layouts with the whether you're multi-monitor or you have a whole bunch of stuff snapped on your screen. That's welcome. So that's another thing I kind of enjoy on the Mac side. Like if you do multi-monitor, you disconnect it, you put it back, it remembers how you had it. I feel like Windows is probably going to do a little bit more than even what the Mac was doing, but at the very least, your screens are where you left them on Mac, and now that you're gonna have that on Windows with even more. Like snapping sucks on the Mac. Like that's
It does.
terrible.
It's terrible. It's
Terrible.
terrible.
So
You have to
Windows has
get
always been better
third
on
party
that,
apps to improve it.
which
But
is ridiculous.
yeah, out of the box it's very half ass. Literally half ass.
Yeah, Windows is way better at that for sure.
Yeah, that new layout, this joint right here, the layout, I forget what they call it, but snap layouts. That shit is tight because so you basically just hover over usually like your maximize button, and then it'll pop up this little menu down here, which will show like how you want to like snap it. So if you want to, you know, snap it as a 2/3 or a half, or you know, put it, you know, four squares. Like this shit is tight, and I got to play around with it a little bit earlier today. But I guess overall, like the UI, let's start there. Like, what do you all think about?
Good.
Yeah, like the little the
All
center
stuff in the center.
taskbar.
I don't know if I like that, but I
I
don't hate it.
I'm not sure about it.
It just looks weird to me. It doesn't look
Doesn't look
like
authentic.
Windows. It doesn't look like Windows.
Yeah.
It looks like Android or something, or like Mac mixed with Android. Like it looks like somebody trying to come up with like it looks like something Linux would do, like a Linux operating system.
Yeah.
That'll fall in line with Carl's theories that that Windows eventually will start running on a Linux kernel, right?
Absolutely. I can't wait till it happens. I'm fairly confident I'm going all the way back to Windows World if that happens. No question. I'll be a Windows user again.
Yeah,
But, Linux is already a better developer experience in my opinion than Mac. So if I get that and then Windows support and then the Xbox integration too, it'd be a no-brainer for me. I'd go back to Windows in a heartbeat if they did that.
Cool. So the other thing, and we were briefly talking about it before, so there's gonna be a lot of stuff like built into the OS. One that stands out. It's particularly with us because I think we all have experience with it, which is Microsoft Teams. That is going to be heavily integrated with Windows. I don't get it because I think Teams is definitely more of a business type thing, but I guess the whole thing with nobody. I'm looking at the Skype icon on my Windows and I want to close it. Um, uh, but it's interesting that like I guess like what do you think, like what is the end goal with that? Like Teams just seems like it's, I guess like like how Discord started as more of a gaming application. Now they've branched out into just people that want to do community shit. Are using, even people are using for business and stuff too. So I guess this is like this is their play on that and trying to branch out and get a whole
Yeah, I
nother
think
crowd.
they want it to go beyond the business. Because they, like I said, I think they've always wanted like a social media platform, and they just never figured out how to do that. And Xbox and Teams is the closest thing they have to that. So yeah, I think that's the play. Is just like, yeah, we got the business world sewed up because we gave it away for free and essentially squeezed Slack, um, but they want that consumer money too.
Yeah, and think about like Apple and the iMessage and how it integrates across all of their devices. And so it's kind of a sneaky way of saying, hey, now we have like an iMessage. Like next thing you know, you might use Teams to just text, right? Because like, what is a text messaging app besides just a place where you can send messages and you can keep basically keep a history of those messages. So who knows that there is a Teams app on Android that people use. I don't find it very fun to use, but who knows? It might get better as this thing
It's not terrible to use when compared to the other apps. It's not. I mean, it's better than Discord. I could tell you that. Like, I at first like Discord visually, it's appealing. It's decent. But as the more I use it, the more I hate it. I absolutely hate that app on every platform. Like I hate
even on your Mac.
Absolutely. I'm surprised my machine didn't crash yet. Like it drains the heck out of your battery.
That is true.
Every device,
especially on your phone,
leaks memory.
Yeah.
So you were saying Teams is PTSD inducing?
Yeah, absolutely. It does.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a weird play. I will say that it is not.
And maybe everybody doesn't feel that way, like because maybe a lot of people don't work in tech, so
True.
I get less.
Companies transition to it. So Skype was what we used, and we just replaced it with Teams. So whether you're tech or not, you're using it.
Yeah, but I think that we probably have a different connotation on like we pretty much work in vacuums, right? Traditionally, and now people don't have to actually even get up and walk all the way across and head into your area to reach you and ask and kind of like it's like they have, even though now we're all remote, they have more access to you maybe. So it's like you can get a message from anybody at any time
bloop, bloop.
Instead of and it's not an email, right? Like they can see you're active, they can see you're there.
Yeah.
You can't respond when you feel like responding. You have to respond immediately. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's the same in every field. I don't know, but I just know for me, I hate the sound of it's not, the chime is not even a bad sound. Like they picked a good tone, all right, in terms of how it sounds to my ears, and like it's not grating or annoying in that sense. It's the context behind the sound. So it's like, oh, like I only hear that sound when I'm at work. So it's Pavlov's dog or whatever, right? Like, or it's Pavlov's dog, right? Where like he rings the bell and the dog's ready for food, basically ready, drools. Except for now, you ring the bell and I'm like something work related's happening, and I don't know if I'm gonna be cool with that as like the standard for like my Windows machine, where it's like I hear that sound all the time, and maybe like I said, maybe I'll be so eventually just be so over,
Maybe we could change it to like after a certain time, we could just change it to Xbox sounds.
Oh, that would be awesome. If I
Yeah,
could,
do that.
if I could make my work machine or my machine differentiate between work and play, and have my work stuff still be Teams, so I could still feel the same way about work as I feel right now, and but like my regular stuff be all Xbox sounds, like an achievement unlock instead of it's the sound I hear when somebody messages me and it's not work related. That would be
Oh.
fantastic.
You know what I just thought? So okay. So you remember there was talks that Microsoft was planning on buying Discord? Like there was
Mhm.
they were
They
flirting
tried
around
for
with
like
that.
yeah, they tried.
They tried, and I think this is
It's,
probably their plan B.
Got plan.
Yeah. Was to because I think that they were I think they definitely wanted, Discord natively on Xbox, which is what PlayStation is going to do. I think that's the deal that they struck with them. But yeah, I think that they were
yeah.
so I think this I don't know if they would have probably like injected Discord into, but maybe they would have like, siphoned some of that technology.
Does Teams have this whole channels thing? Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
You
it's
kind
the
of
same
do.
thing. It's
You
literally
do
the
the same.
same.
You do the same stuff. I just don't use it the same because I'm like
It's
when I'm.
traumatizing. That's why.
Yeah, exactly. I I don't know if y'all have done this yet, but have y'all ever like typed a message in the wrong window in Teams, like to the wrong person?
Yeah, absolutely.
But
But I don't ever say anything reckless at work, so I don't really worry about it like that. I
So,
just
Oh
wrong.
man, can you believe
Sometimes
this
I'll say,
nigga?
"Oh, sorry guys, wrong windows," or I'll
I
just
was something very similar to what Kristen just said is what I typed in the window. So we're in a meeting. So we're in a meeting. Um, so we have a meeting every for like 4 days out of the week to talk about what we did that day, right? So it's like every day we have a meeting at a certain time, and there are a few people that I message throughout the day, right? We're always constantly talking. Well, I missed something in the meeting. I may or may not have been playing my Switch, but that's irrelevant. The fact is, I missed it,
feel like
and
not irrelevant.
the person that I usually talk to messaged in the meeting, but I didn't know he messaged in the meeting because we were talking right before the meeting started. So his name pops up at the bottom and says, and it says reply, and I'm like, oh shoot, well let me ask him a question while I'm here. I'm like, what did he just say? I missed it, and I typed that into the actual meeting. They're like, but I forgot how I phrased it because it wasn't what did he just say? I missed it. It was more close. It was closer to what Kristen said. Like, what's this nigga talking about? But it wasn't. It wasn't what's this nigga talking about. I know better than to use any kind of street language at work, but it did happen to be the only other. There's only two black developers on the team besides me, right? So it happened to be one of the other black developers. So I mean, if I was reckless, that would have been awful. But I said something along the lines of, "What's he saying?" Like instead of, and that was at the bottom of the message. So he's reading all the messages because that's where we type in what we did. And so he gets to the bottom and he reads the message.
Oh my god.
I was like, oh my gosh, I can't like the channels. I don't know. In Discord, it's pretty obvious what channel I'm in. I have not sent a message to someone in Discord on accident, right? But in Teams, it doesn't tell you what channel. If you're in a meeting, it doesn't tell you if that message comes from a person, individual directly, or if it comes from the meeting chat, right? It just has, it's the same window. It just pops up and it has their name in it and says, "Do you want to?" Basically, and it has the reply section, but it doesn't say this is this meeting message chat or whatever. It just pops up at the bottom. So
Version?
say what?
Is that an old version you got?
I don't know. It does not. I'm talking about like if you're on the app, you're in the meeting right now, right?
Yeah.
Somebody types in a message. a box, like a little rectangle, just pops up at the bottom, and it doesn't say this is for this meeting. And if the same person who messaged in the meeting,
my notifications are completely different on Mac.
okay,
So I don't have it where it pops up at the bottom.
okay, so that's what happens if you're like in the meeting but not looking at the screen. Like it'll just pop up and say, "Hey, this person sent a message," and they won't tell you, "Hey, this person sent a message in this meeting, in the check-in meeting," right? It says, "Hey, this person sent a message," and after the meeting, we laughed about it because he was like, "Hey, did you mean to send that to me directly?" I was like, absolutely, but it's all good. You just play it off like you just like, yeah, I said it, and I meant it. I missed it. What did you say? Like you just have to pretend like, yeah, that's how I meant to say that. But no, it was embarrassing. It was funny, but I think that the problem with I was thinking like Discord, I've never had that issue, so I guess I never looked at the apps as identical. But you're right, they're close. They're super close. I'm looking at the interface now, and I'm like, I can see where Teams is trying to do this stuff that Discord is doing in their app as well. It doesn't look as good. I can tell you that. I think Discord looks better.
Yes. The only thing that's better, I can tell you that. App's trash on every platform. I haven't tried it on Windows, so I can't say on that, but
it hasn't broken down or anything like that, but I did have an issue the other day because I still talked to I switched all my Hangout conversations to Discord because Hangouts was doing what it was doing.
Hangouts was just like just fucking on the chopping block, just like
they kept giving it a stay of execution though too. They're like, it's gonna die. It's gonna die this year.
Like, get off. Stop
and
using
we're like,
it.
but we just love it so much.
It's like we got history on this platform.
They just kept prolonging. It's still kicking now, but I think people are finally starting to abandon shit.
Yeah, I think they integrated with Meet
with Meet, which
is
kinda like you can still have a Hangout though video. You can still do that.
You can't do a conference. Yeah.
Right. You can't. So, but yeah, I forgot what. Oh yeah, the Discord app on Windows. I did when I was using it on my Android. The thing is like if I'm in this call we're talking in right now, and I said okay I want to use this on my phone, I can switch almost seamlessly from my phone to my computer. Right, I can just open up the Discord app, click on this video chat, and then it'll switch. It'll pull me out of the video on the computer and put it into my phone. But what happens is if someone calls me back and I'm in the Discord app on my phone, my computer just rang. It just kept ringing and it wouldn't stop ringing, even though I was in the chat on my phone. It just kept going. So what I ended up having to do was actually call from my phone in order to force it to switch. So that's the only issue I've ever had with Discord in Windows.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, just like the total disrespect for Skype. I mean, I think
they bought Skype so that almost was like probably like an afterthought. Like let's just make sure we have something.
Yeah.
We need something to compete with Hangouts and FaceTime.
It was the hotness though. They got it before I think Hangouts even really popped off.
They got it.
Oh yeah, they got it right at its peak.
They got it in order to compete with FaceTime, but because they needed that app that everybody was familiar with, like, oh, it exists and it's used for this purpose, so that everybody would call each other on Skype. But then a million of those popped up. You got Line, you got WhatsApp, you got all these things. That a million of those things popped up, and once that happened, it was like people kind of
Skype.
It's kind of like who used it?
Kind of like AIM, like when you think of like you're like So the other updates to Windows 11, you can use Android apps on Windows 11. I don't know why you would want to do that.
Through the Amazon store.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I was just like,
That's weird. The Amazon store play.
It's not weird. Yeah. It makes perfect sense. No one, they don't, they'd rather deal with Amazon than Google, is what they're saying.
Well,
They don't
Google
want,
would probably never agree to that unless
yeah,
they come out the pockets by a
that
lot.
that's what I'm saying. Like there probably wasn't much of an opportunity. Like that's like if your country is at war with another country, then y'all aren't going to get none of that trade from them. But if another country trades with them, you can trade with that country. That's how it happens.
But
So
I'm
basically, you can basically use your Windows machine as an Android box.
No, but you just get access to a lot of those apps. Not all of the Play Store, but to like
yeah
any app that's
on
both on the Amazon Store and the Play Store, you can now download on your Windows machine. Just
Okay.
to
Like
work
it
Yeah.
native.
fills the gap, right? Like, how many developers do you think are actually going to make native Windows apps in this day and age? You're
Oh,
just going to make a web app.
yeah
no.
So to fill the gap, you like, okay, well, let's just get Android. Everybody's supporting the web, Android, and iOS. So let's just run Android apps to fill in the gap.
yeah. But it's like I'm trying to think like what would be a use case for me for something like this um
For which part?
to use an Android app on PC. Like
I guess maybe I was gonna say
so
maybe
they
if
I
you
mean they showed like TikTok, but I mean,
Like Twitter.
but even then, I just go to TweetDeck on browser.
what do you
Or
mean like on
like
on the
YouTube,
app itself?
actually, maybe because people might prefer the app experience to the web.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't know. Cause I think doesn't Windows have like a YouTube app?
it's garbage. I
Mm,
don't think it's really made by Google. Like it seems like it's just a web wrapper, and it's
yeah,
horrendous.
but then
So
then it's. I mean, I don't find anything wrong with the browser version of YouTube.
yeah, some people just prefer, like, if I'm on a laptop, of course I prefer the web app to a mobile experience, but some people prefer a mobile experience.
Mm.
I don't.
And then you can well the way that they showed it is that you can like snap it off to the right. So that would in that case it would be cool. Even like you know
It
Instagram
shows up in
TV,
Task
right?
Manager.
Yeah, like Instagram TV.
Hmm.
You could put something like that to the side and watch it kind of like YouTube. Um, but yeah, it's just I mean, I guess it's cool. But it's it's like you said, it's addressing that gap. Um, so the other big thing was the integration of Gamepass on Windows 11. Um, it's pretty cool. I mean, I don't know. I mean, the current Xbox app it is fine. It gets the job done. It's definitely sluggish. So having something that is more
Why
optimized,
is it sluggish though? That's what I don't understand.
I don't know. It's like
That don't make any sense.
I think it was just like I think it was just put together like, and it's kind of confusing because you have the Xbox app. Um. Okay, so no, they integrated everything on the Xbox app. Before it was like you had an Xbox app and then you had like a separate Game Pass app.
Yep.
And it was the same on mobile too. That was a confusing thing, but I think they've consolidated.
Yeah.
Um, and I think I don't know why it's not bad though. It's just sluggish, a little sluggish, but it's not extremely bad in my opinion.
I think they're probably doing the whole Blazer thing where
Oh yeah.
it's their version of Phone Gap where they compile once, run everywhere, garbage,
Yeah.
um, and it turns out to be not performant on every platform.
Mhm.
But they should address that, or just make a PWA. A PWA would be way more performant than the app they have.
Yeah. But I think the integration with Windows 11 is pretty cool. Let me see. What else? Game would be focused on.
So my question is, since xCloud you can use it now in the browser, will you be able to use that for um on the Macs as well in the browser?
Yeah, you could been do that. The thing is when where they're gonna support it on iOS and iPad, which they did what like a month ago now.
Yeah.
So yeah, you could do it. I've done it on my iPad already.
Okay. Yeah, I've done it on my iPad too. I know they just put in to where where you're able to use xCloud over the browser and not through the app instead.
Yeah.
You have no idea how much I wish I was quicker on the trigger with the app because they used to have the app in the App Store. Like if I had that, I know the performance would already be good, but
Yeah, it's pretty
as
good
much
actually.
performance,
It's very
at least for
responsive.
my iPad, it was not. It was not working out. Like I was getting destroyed more so than often.
For the single player games, it was actually very responsive. If you had a
Yeah.
good
Yeah,
connection.
but if you're doing multiplayer,
Oh, multiplayer, oh no. It
Yeah.
was terrible. It was terrible.
I was
I tried playing
getting
Outriders and I tried
bombarded.
playing
I
yeah.
would pull the trigger and like 2 seconds later, it
Yeah.
fired.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nah. I wouldn't. I
So
wouldn't
just,
subject yourself to that. Um. So yeah, I mean, I guess that's pretty much it. So the UI looks really good. All of these features and integrations are interesting. I think the only one is we're just kind of like, yeah, is Microsoft Teams, which I think we all kind of have like a unique experience with that. And it's interesting that they're really trying to push the commercial aspect of it.
yeah. Cause
But
you have to pay for it.
yeah,
And I'm like, ain't nobody gonna pay for Teams, but they're for free.
yep. So,
Who's
um,
paying for Teams?
you said what?
Who's paying for Teams?
I don't know.
Well, I like Skype. I like Skype. I tried to use it for personal use and stuff. When I had to have a account, and I think they tried to make me use. I think if I had more than the basic amount, then I would have to. I can't remember. It was something along those lines. I can't.
Cool. All right.
I was
So
sucks.
yeah. So to wrap up, I guess like which one was more exciting, Windows 11 or the announcements from WWDC?
Uh, I don't know. I guess Windows probably wins that one because it's a new operating system, like it's a whole new version.
Mm-hmm.
And Apple had that last year when they got Big Sur. So I guess for that reason, maybe Windows. Um, but I wanted more from both of them.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, hopefully we get to see more as we approach the release date of Windows 11. Like if you said, it was slated for later this year, holiday season, fall 2021. So we'll probably get more, especially for developers. Like we'll get some more information on the improvements on things like WSL, more Docker stuff support.
Mm.
Any new announcements of like the next like .NET framework, that type of stuff. So yeah, I mean, I definitely, I think that the Windows 11 was more exciting just because that's the platform that I'm primarily on these days. A lot of the stuff that they showed at the WWDC, I can't take advantage of because I just don't have all that necessary hardware to play around with that. So so that one is just kind of a little bit more FOMO, FOMO inducing. But other than that, I mean, it's cool. But like like we were saying before, like a lot of those features we probably won't even use on a daily. But the snap feature on Windows 11, like well, I use that.
Daily.
Yeah, I use that. I use that the current version of Snap right now, like all the time. So so yeah. Any final words before we get to go play some games?
I just want to,
More hardware.
more hardware and get my hands on it. Let's see, for experience for myself.
Yeah, they have a compatibility tester that you can look up. And I think I don't know if it's a browser based tool or a native tool, but yeah, you can start seeing if your system is ready for Windows 11 right now. So part of me kind of doesn't want to know, because I mean, I'm not. I mean, my systems are solid, but I don't want to like. They'd be like, oh yeah, nah, your system, and then I have to like start looking around for shit. So I don't need that in my life right now.
I wanted to hear more about ARM support, because Microsoft's working on their own silicon as well. And I have a feeling, crossing fingers, when they actually drop Windows 11, they'll introduce a new device that has Microsoft silicon, or whatever they're gonna call it. So I was hoping to hear more on the ARM side as far as support, but
Yeah,
maybe
that would be
later.
cool. Yeah, definitely.
So the minimum requirements, system requirements, is 1 gigahertz or faster with 2 or more cores on a compatible 64-bit processor or system on a chip, 4 gigabytes of RAM, 64 gigabytes of storage or larger, system firmware, UEFI, or security boot basically, trusted platform module, a Direct 12 graphics card, 9-inch with
DirectX 12, that's
DirectX 12, yeah, compatible graphics, WDDM 2.x,
I know one.
9-inch with, it's a 9-inch, greater than 9 inches with HD resolution 720p, and then Microsoft account, and for internet connection, Microsoft account, and internet connectivity required for setup for Windows 11 Home.
They're not playing no more games. They're like, we're checking those product keys.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
All right. So that wraps it up for our chat on WWDC impressions and also Windows 11 impression. I hope you all enjoyed it. Hope you all definitely comment on some of the stuff that you saw that we talked about. Let us know which daily drivers you're using on a day-to-day basis. What's your favorite OS between Mac and Windows? All of that good stuff. Let's get the PC wars going again. But yeah. Thank you all for joining us. Again, my name is Not Cirque, and we have JK Beasternal, AJ Naslinja, and Carl KBH. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow us on all the socials, follow us on Twitch, Instagram, and make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube. You all have a good evening. Catch us for the next video. What's our next video? Oh, E3, Halo Infinite. So stay tuned for that. We're all big Halo fans, so yeah, you'll get a handful of So yeah, peace out.